Do you enjoy playing on just one account, maybe even two accounts, maybe three accounts at one time, or possibly even four accounts all at once, and you need some AFK money making activities? Sit down, start watching. I'm going to show you guys some great AFK money making activities to do while you're multitasking and multi-logging. If you have 75 Slayer, then you can go ahead and kill Gargoyles. These guys are located in the Slayer Tower's top floor. I do suggest you invest in the Gargoyle Smasher perk from the Slayer Master for 120 points. As every kill, you must use a rock throwing hammer to finish it off, and this perk will automatically do it for you so that you can AFK for even longer. These drop the famous Granite Mauls at a drop rate of 1 in 256. Right now, they're going between 700 and 800k. They do drop a ton of alchables, runes, or supplies. Each kill is worth about 3.5k, and you can expect to make about 350k an hour, excluding the Gmaul drops. And if you include the Gmaul drops, then you can expect about 1 mil an hour from AFKing these guys. All you need is 43 prayer, some decent prayer bonus gear, some offensive strength gear, and you just throw on Pray Melee, drink a prayer potion every few minutes, and these guys will automatically attack you for 10 minutes before you have to run away and come back to regain aggression. Alright, and sticking with Mortania, in the city of Myrdich, you can easily kill and AFK the Vyrewatch Sentinels. In order to kill these guys, you must have completed the Sins of the Father quest and have the Ivandist Flail or the Blisterwood Flail with at least 38 Slayer. The great thing about AFKing Vyres is that they never become tolerant to you unless you're wearing the Vyre Noble Robes, and players usually kill these guys on or off a Slayer task because it's a pretty good AFK moneymaker, and you can grow your combat stats from it as well. Great thing about these guys is they're right next to an altar, so you never have to bring any prayer potions with you, just super combat potions. You can wear Proselyte, Sunflyer, God Robes, whatever you really have with the highest prayer bonus. This will make your AFK time last so much longer, and when you do run out of prayer, like I said, the altar is right here. Blood shards are going for about 13 to 14 million GP right now, and on task, you can expect a drop at about 1 in 1.5k. So if you're doing this for profit, you can expect about 300k an hour without the blood shard, and with the blood shard drop, you can expect about 1 mil an hour. Next, we have Drakes. These are found in the Slayer dungeon of Mount Carlum. You need at least 84 Slayer in order to kill these guys. Once you have that, they're very easily AFKable. You do need to bring the Boots of Stone, Boots of Brimstone, or Granite Boots. Otherwise, you can't access them, and the electricity on the floor will constantly just hit you for damage. This is not a multi-combat zone, but I still bring my cannon. It helps speed up the kills significantly, and you do need anti-fire protection, and you can kill these on or off a Slayer task. You should bring some prayer gear and some offensive strength melee gear. Pray range the whole time, bring some prayer potions, super combat potions, some food, and then I usually bring the bone crusher for even more AFK time. I don't have to pick up the bones, and the bones just automatically get buried, or you can pick them up and then bank them, but you're not going to be as AFK. They do drop the Drake's Tooth and the Drake's Claw at a 1 in 512 drop, and they're about 60k and 500k. And then they also drop the Dragon Throwing Axe and the Dragon Knives at a rate of 1 in 2k, and those are, I don't know, 500 to a mil drops. So that's expensive. They do drop a ton of alchables, so bring high elk, tons of herbs, seeds, runes, and always the herbs are noted, so that's great. Doesn't take up too much bank space, and you can expect about 500k an hour from these guys. Now, killing Skeletal Wyverns requires 72 Slayer, and I recommend at least 80 plus in your combat stats, especially in range. You also need to bring one of the following, either an Elemental, Mind, Dragonfire Ward, or Ancient Wyvern Shield, in order to protect your guy from the Icy Breath. Obviously, bring some food, the best food you have, super combat potions or ranging potions, prayer potions, and a bone crusher. A lot of their drops do come in noted form, so it doesn't take up too much inventory space, which is great. Just bring some high elk runes. And the quickest way to get here is through the fairy code ring AIQ. Then just run north up the hill a little bit until you see the dungeon entrance. There are a ton of safe spots for range here, so that's why I suggest you do range rather than melee. And if you do the safe spot correctly, you should take no damage. These guys are easily AFKable as you just click them once the aggression timer is off. As long as you're in the safe spot, you won't get hit, and there's really nothing to worry about. If you do this method correctly, you can get about 50 kills an hour, and then I would say about 750 to 900k in profit, and an additional 2,000 passive prayer XP if you're using the Bone Crusher. Brutal Black Dragons are another great AFK monster that requires 77 Slayer and can be found in the Catacombs of Karen. They are a stronger version of Black Dragons, but weaker than KBD. You can kill these on or off task, but either way, they are very AFK, and you can make quite a bit of GP here. They drop the famous Dragon Visage at a rate of 1 in 10,000. Tons of alchables like Dragon Plate Legs, Dragon Skirt, D Spear, D Med Helm, the Dragon Longsword, full rune armor, other alchables, runes, supplies, darts, arrows, you name it. Basically, tons of alchables. They also drop the Dark Totem pieces, so if you're going for the Skatizo pet, that's great as well. Each kill is worth about 30k, making you well over 1.4 mil an hour with about 50 kills an hour. You should bring anti-fire protection, pray mage the whole time, and you'll basically not take any damage. I went here with a full range setup and just pray mage the whole time, and you can AFK these kills, no problem. Again, I do suggest you bring the Bone Crusher so you don't have to bury any of the bones, and the passive effect will go off in the Catacombs of Karen. Every time your character automatically crushes the bones with the Bone Crusher, you'll regain, I believe it's 4 prayer points. An alternative to Brutal Black Dragons is killing Rune Dragons. Now, I tried to AFK Rune Dragons with full Justicar and the Fang rather than the Dragon Hunter Lance. I was not able to perfect this, but it's not a bad start. If you don't want to go fully AFK, you can semi-AFK on these guys with this setup. Do bring anti-fire protection, super combat potions, prayer potions, and some good food. With this setup, you can expect about 40 to 45 kills an hour with 5 or so trips. This will bring you in about 1.4 mil an hour in profit, and you don't need to pay 100% of attention, so I guess that's good. You do need to have completed Dragon Slayer 2 and have high combat stats, and these guys drop tons of supplies, herbs, and alchs, just like the Brutal Black Dragons. Now, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll know that killing Sarachnis is one of my favorite fully AFK bosses to fight. With the new Arania boots, you'll never get stuck in his web, and you'll attack him without pausing the entire fight. You should have at least 80s in your combat stats, I would say, and high enough prayer for piety. So pray piety and pray mage the entire fight. I went with the full LE setup, Justicar, the Fang, Arania boots, Ferocious gloves, and maybe bring a Blood Fury. If you don't have that, then I suggest you bring the Din's Bulwark, and you'll do just as fine. Bring some super combat potions, food, prayer potions, high elk runes. With this setup, you can expect about 35 to 50 kills an hour while being fully AFK and about 500k GP in profit. The fight is pretty AFK. You just hit Sarachnis once. You'll take some damage throughout the fight, but you can just heal up and pray up after the fight is over. You shouldn't take too much damage with the Ellie and the Blood Fury. You'll take a little bit more damage with the Din's Bulwark, but you'll do just as fine. Throughout the fight, she'll spawn 4 of her minions. You can just go ahead, ignore those, and just continue to attack Sarachnis. With the Arania boots, you'll never stop attacking her, and your character will never get distracted and go off and attack the minions. Another great AFK dragon would have to be the Mithril Dragons. These can be found in the Ancient Cavern. You do need to start Barbarian Fire Making in order to kill them, and these guys are the only monster that drops the Dragon Full Helm at a rate of 1 in 32,000, or you can get the Chewed Bones at a rate of 1 in 42. Use that on a pirate ship, and then you can obtain the Dragon Full Helm at a rate of 1 in 256. Do bring anti-fire potions, anti-dragon shield. I brought the Fang and some strong defensive melee gear, super combat, and prayer potions. Pray mage the entire fight, and piety too if you have that. You can expect about 45 kills an hour for about 500 to 750k in profit, depending if you get the rares or not. Killing Fiyr Shades is probably one of the least used and underrated monsters to AFK for profit. Do keep in mind, it's not fully AFK, as Shades do not have aggression towards you, so you will have to click on them in order to fight them. But each Shade drop is between 8 and 9k in the GE, which is just crazy. It doesn't sell that fast, but they will sell eventually, so just leave it in there. You do need 65 fire making to access them with a silver key, which can be obtained as a reward for cremating a Shade outside. I would bring the Salve Amulet, good combat gear, small amount of food if you think you need it, maybe a prayer potion, I do suggest you do get a coffin from the Shades of Morton minigame, so you could store up to 28 additional shades in there to make the trips last even longer. After about 10 minutes, I was able to kill and collect 31 shades. Eventually, I sold them all off for 260k in the GE, making this about 1.5 mil an hour.